Welcome into the PFF NFL Daily. Today discussing the Cleveland Browns and more specifically OBJ, Odell Beckham. Well, his dad wanted him out of town. He's not out of town. We've got the whole narrative, Sam, that Baker Mayfield's better without Odell Beckham, and there's a lot of data that continues to back that up. So what do you make of this whole situation? And Cleveland's burning a little bit after what was supposed to be such a promising season.
Little bit. Yeah, like I've never been one to buy into the whole idea that Baker Mayfield is worse and the Browns are worse when Odell Beckham is on the field. Certainly coming into this year, it felt like the data was too noisy. You know, Beckham got injured right at the time that offense got its stuff together, and we just never saw Odell Beckham with the offense when everything was clicking. Problem is, this year it's kind of going in that direction again. Like Beckham has been there, but it doesn't work. Like whatever reason, and again, like it's never clean, right? Baker Mayfield has injured his shoulder multiple times. Like he's not playing at his best, so the whole thing is like confused and muddied, and there's no clean, obvious answer. But it does seem like those two just cannot connect ever. It doesn't matter which guy's healthy. It doesn't matter what's happening. For some reason, it hasn't been working, and there's no signs of it starting to work. And that's okay. That's one thing if you're just relying on the fact that they're two talented players that will eventually figure it out. But if it is reaching a point where it's getting toxic, and I don't know if it is, right? It might just be Odell Beckham's dad going nuts on Instagram. But, you know, that's a post that's getting liked by Browns players, you know, Rashad Higgins, John Johnson, players that have liked that post. And if there is something now like festering beneath the surface, like Odell's getting mad that Baker's kind of screwing him over, or Baker then gets mad because everybody's whinging about it, like that's the kind of thing that can cause real problems.
Hey, I didn't know Rashad Higgins liked it too. Mm-hmm. He's in on this too?
Oh yeah, changes everything, right?
I mean, Higgins has been more productive than OBJ over there anyway. I mean, so this is the crazy thing. Just to remember what the stats were through 6 weeks last year. Baker Mayfield, the number 32 graded quarterback. This is in 2020. This is when OBJ was out there. Number 32 for Baker, and then number 2 from week 7 onward. I mean, it really was night and day. And you said, hey, maybe it's too noisy. Maybe it is too much. It's one season. And, you know, part of it last year was new offense. And it was an easy narrative that they started slow and then got better. It happened to coincide with OBJ. But again, there's more evidence because in 2019, when they played together, what did we keep saying? Like, they're just not on the same page. Baker's been on the same page as Rashad Higgins whenever he plays. So I don't like Higgins liking that post, Sam. I don't know about that one. But yeah, the Mayfield-OBJ connection just hasn't been there, right? Wrong route, or he's open, Baker misses him. For whatever reason, they just can't do it. And then here's my question, right? Would you even question this move again? Yeah, it's the right move for the Browns. I mean, we see teams, we see how impactful a true number one receiver is on offenses. When A.J. Brown came to the Titans, as much as we talk about Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill, he might be the force multiplier that completely changes that, right? DeAndre Hopkins. How about Antonio Brown leaving the Pittsburgh Steelers? The passing offense has never been the same. Julio Jones in Atlanta. The elite top-notch receivers completely change everything. It was the right move for the Browns to go get one of these guys. It just really has had the opposite effect so far through 3 years.
Absolutely. I don't think you can criticize them for making the move at all. And if you look, it's getting further and further in the rearview mirror, but it's worth kind of going back and looking at just how insane the start to Odell Beckham's career was. PFF grade of 90.8 as a rookie. That was the first of 3 grades in a row that were above 84.6. Then he had a relative down year when he was injured, and then 90 again on the comeback. But, you know, 1,300, 1,400, 1,395 yards, double-digit touchdowns each of those first years. He was incredible. He was basically the best wide receiver in the game, or certainly one of the top 2 or 3.
He's in that conversation for sure.
Right out of the gate, and was a devastating guy with the ball in his hands after the catch. He had a ton of broken tackles, top 20 in a season in 2 different years. So he's been incredible. The injuries were really the only thing that slowed him down in New York. And then it's not been the same guy in Cleveland at all. Now, year 1, he did top 1,000 yards but the last 2 years it's been injuries. And more to the point, like even when he's out there, the two of them, Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham, just cannot get on the same page. Now, at least this time it's not, you know, necessarily running the wrong routes or literally being on different pages in terms of where the guy's going to be. but they just can't connect. Like Baker's missing him, or when he isn't missing him, Odell Beckham is dropping the ball or somehow failing to come up with a catch that he should have. Like, you look at the number of targets, he's got 4 games this year with 6 or more targets, and only one of those none of them, has he got more than 5 catches. 2 of them have resulted in just 2 catches. Like, the connection just isn't there. And at some point, it almost just doesn't matter what the reason is. Like, it isn't working. So you need a conclusion. And if they didn't move him on in the trade deadline, it suggests they're kind of saddled with him. Now your question becomes like, does there reach a tipping point where you're actually better off just not having him here? Like, you're better off with Odell Beckham not being on the roster if it's going to become a problem within the locker room.
NFL fans hungry for a big win this week? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. They got you covered. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game. And if they do, you win $200 in free bets. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's that simple. If Sportsbook isn't yet available in your state, DraftKings won't leave you empty-handed. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy sports contests. And DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PFF. Bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game, and you can win $200 in free bets. If they win, you win with promo code PFF this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey, Indiana, and Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit, $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Are you telling me they might be better off just cutting him? There's got to be a way to make it work. I keep saying that, and really, they're running out of time here. Especially if people are liking Instagram posts and stuff that are anti-Baker. Come on now. It's all falling apart, man.
It's such a ridiculous, like, millennial Gen Z world where you're thinking like an Instagram like of a post might actually have a material difference on a team's roster to the point where they should be making moves.
Maybe they were saving it as a bookmark.
Of course,
right?
Yeah.
Because in Twitter, those used to be called favorites, not likes, and people favorite things so that they could see it later. I know Instagram's a whole different world, Sam, but maybe they're just bookmarking it.
I'm not going to say they should move on from him, or they are better without him. I think there's missing pieces of information that we're not privy to, right? We have no idea how this is actually playing within the Browns locker room, and I think most people don't. But there is a line beyond which, if it is an issue within that locker room, if Odell Beckham is getting annoyed at the fact that, like, Baker just can't hit him with the ball, and when he does hit him with the ball, he's dropping it or getting hurt going to the ground or whatever. Like, if that is becoming an issue, and if that does start to kind of, if there are people on Odell's side and there are people on Baker's side, whatever, you can just see how it has the potential to sow division and create a problem that they really don't need this year. And there's a line somewhere along that pathway between no problem whatsoever and, oh yeah, actually this is a major issue. Somewhere along that line is where Odell Beckham is not worth the headache that he is. I don't know if we're there right now. I have no idea. Like, that's a question for inside the Browns organization. Like, where are we on this thing? Obviously it hasn't worked out right now, but is that a problem, or is it just like, how do we get this thing fixed?
Yeah, maybe it is time to just move on. And look, I want to go back and discuss the Browns process here, because again, I think they made the right move. I think this is one of those process versus results situations here where, they traded Kevin Zeitler, a starting right guard. Well, they've replaced him with Wyatt Teller, who's actually played better than Kevin Zeitler. They kind of got rid of Kevin Zeitler at the right time, a guard getting a little bit older, not directly in exchange, but essentially in exchange for a receiver, as we mentioned, who had a track record of being a legitimate true number one and was a top 3 or 4 receiver, in his career. And it just didn't work out. So maybe it is time to cut bait, and it is, maybe the end, of the Browns and OBJ. If he is back, do you try to continue to make it work? The Browns have built a pretty good stable of playmakers. They're not elite by any stretch, but I think the way that offense operates, some weeks the tight end step up, sometimes it's the receivers, so there's a lot of run game in there. And maybe it is a better offense when it's spreading the wealth rather than going to that one true alpha receiver.
But their biggest problem is that there's just no obvious path to fix it. Like, it's not like they've been overfeeding Odell Beckham in terms of targets. They've been forcing the ball in his direction, or like there's an obvious adjustment they can make to the offense to just get him the ball more. Like, it's a, he isn't being given the ball enough. It's a volume thing. You can change that, right? You can ramp up or down volume. It's just that like they've been, I think, throwing the ball in his direction about the appropriate amount of time. The problem is it just isn't working. Like it's the wrong times, or it's the wrong pass, or whatever it is. They're just not connecting, and I don't see what the fix is to that. Like for some reason, when Baker Mayfield has Odell Beckham at the end of the target, the radar goes nuts. It just goes haywire. The accuracy goes out the window, and he doesn't put the ball where it's supposed to be. Or like I say, when he does, there's parts of this that are Odell's fault as well, and he's not connecting. So I don't like there's no reason that should be the case. Therefore, it's very difficult to identify the thing to change to fix it. Like what do you even attempt to do to try and improve this connection?
Just be better, I guess. I mean, if you win games, just be better. If you're winning games, this isn't an issue. But the Browns are not winning right now. They've fallen to 4-4. Now last place in a loaded AFC North. Disappointing start now after a promising beginning to the season for the Browns. We'll see what happens with OBJ and the Browns. We have no distinct conclusion here, Sam. We don't know what the problem is. Let us know what you think. It's PFF.